Hey, welcome to another adventure in old code. Well, it's time for another adventure in small code, seeing as how this is episode 67, and I'm pretty sure the only numbers that go into 67 are 1 and itself. That determines adventures in small code. So let's have a look at what we're doing today. I figure we would go through the dumb folder and knock off a bunch of these old ones. So these will all be mine. Last adventure in small code, we went through the quick basic folder. This will knock off some of these dumb ones. Okay, the first one to come up is bigger circ. Just bigger circ. So here we go. Let us see. And again, these are small programs. If you weren't around for the conception of adventures in small code, there's just so many small ones kicking around that we're going to knock off as many as we can at once here. So let's have a look. Bigger circ. And I'm beginning to understand why this is called bigger circ. The circles are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Some of the circles appear to not being filled up. I suspect that is because I'm filling them using a paint command. And you recall a paint command paints one color up unto another color. So if we drew a yellow circle and we fill it, starting at its center with yellow, it would fill the circle unless there was already yellow at the very center via some other circle. And this will just keep on going and continuing and continuing and continuing. All right. Random number generator, screen 9. This is 64350, I believe. D equals 1. Okay. Clearing the screen. X and Y are random coordinate on the screen. C, I'm guessing that's color, a random color between 1 and 15, and we are going to draw the circle with a radius of D. Paint the circle, the color, until you hit the same color. So in the case where this is black, or I guess any other color except the boundary color, this will fill the entire circle. But sometimes it doesn't, because there's already that color in the center with some other colors, with some other circles. So hopefully you can see that. I think I can pause this. So let's have a look. I can't actually use my pointer, so you'll just have to look. Any circle that's not filled, I see a gray one, I see a yellow one. Those are the two that stand out to me. The reason they're not filled, if you look, if you go to the very center of the not filled circle, there's already that color. So when I do the paint command, there's a different boundary of that color than the actual circle itself, and it doesn't get filled up. Okay, oh, there's a color 3, a cyan color there, right next to a magenta circle. That's an interesting one. Oh, no, that actually wasn't. I just paused it right in the middle of the paint filling up. Okay, that's enough with this program. Yep. Very good. Bigger circ. Now we go to my song. All right. This is That's a little tune I composed. I've composed it ages ago. And I just decided to make it in QBasic. There's not a whole lot going on. A, G, F. The P. What the heck? So this again means move down an octave. What does the P mean? Oh, that's a pause. That's a rest. For a quarter note's worth of a rest. Okay. And that's it. Let's listen to it one more time and then move on. Perfect. Okay, my song. Done. Man 2. Here we go. There's a guy and he's moving his arms. Woohoo for us. Oh my word. Okay, one more time. Up and down, up and down, up and down. Woo-hoo. Okay. Again, screen 9. Okay, clearing the screen. 1 to 5 times. I guess he's going to move his arms up and down 5 times. B, whatever that is. It's 120. Okay, 1 to 20 times. Draw the circle. Okay, this is his head. These are his body and his arms and all that stuff. Circle, circle, circle. These are his eyes and nose. Anyway, regardless of anything else, we'll just put an end here. That's what we've drawn. Okay, then we increase B, and if B equals 140, so we started at 120. We increase B every time. We haven't used, oh yes, we hear the line from 100, 140 to 70 and B minus 1. So first time through the loop, we're going to draw the line from to, you know, the tip of his arm is going to be at the coordinate 70, 119. Then it'll be 70, 120, 70, 121. You can see how this moves down, and his arms indeed go up and down, up and down, up and down. All right, if he's at 140, then we're going to erase the line and set it back to 120. We do some weighting. Then we have it be 140, and we do the same thing, except this time we decrease B. So this is his arm moving back up. And if we hit 120, then we erase the line and we set B to be 140. And we do that entire thing up and down 5 times. And then we draw a line. Why did we draw these lines? What happens if I mean, this is drawing his arms again. Okay, so the last thing we do is erase his arms. So we want to draw them again. All right, well that's, yeah, woohoo. Man 2. All right, moving on to Space 2. Joey's Reeler Space. So I'm gonna, we did this, I think this was our second program ever, the second episode ever. Curious, I think those are the blinking colors. Anyway, that is Space. We tried to make Space, but we didn't know about graphics. This is Joey's Reeler Space. Ooh. Some of these stars are bright white, some of them are less white. The reason the screen is so small is because this is screen 13. Interesting, and I guess DOSBox has a problem going into screen 13. Just 1 second here. Oops. Okay. Okay, so the reason we chose screen 13 is because there is a lot of different shades. Remember, we have 256 different colors in screen 13. We're going to choose 500 random coordinates, and the color is going to be random number between 1 and 16 plus 15. So the way the colors work in screen 13 is once you get to color 15, which is bright white, I believe it's the same for screen 12 and screen 13. 15 is bright white. But then, whereas screen 12 ends with the 16 colors, and anything you go above it is just white by default, this is where the different shades of gray start coming. So these are predefined. It's just color 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, all the way up to 30 is the different shades of gray in screen 13. So there you go. Not very exciting, but it's a bit of a realer space. All right. I'm sure I was very excited to make that. Okay, now we're going to go into something called Fade. Joey's Fader Thingy. Well, that's pretty awesome. This is screen 13. We're doing something 10 times, going from 31 down to 16. And then we're doing the same thing from 16 to 31. So A is going to be our color. I see we're drawing a box from color 31 down to color 16, given a little bit of a weight, and then going back up. So this is pretty much the same thing as the space 2. And these are the different colors from 15 to 31 in screen 13. Woohoo for that. So we actually were able to do this in other screen modes using the palette function. But all of these colors exist in screen 13, and you can have access to them without doing any fancy palette statements. So that's one of the great things about screen 13. Okay, we're done that. Window. Time for window. Okay, window. Here we go. Perfect. Let's do it. Now, why is this called window? Perfect. It's a window, and there's some colored stars outside the window. And we've painted our house a very gross green color. Okay, excellent. I don't know. We can see how let's just build this up. So the sleep command without any number behind it is just wait for keyboard input. So I am going to put this at the end of every line so we can see what happens, but actually, no, we don't want to sleep there. Yeah, let's not do that in the loop. This is obviously drawing the stars. I don't want to sleep after every star. But we will sleep here. And then we'll start sleeping here. Oh, that's the end of the program. Okay, so let's see what happens. First, we start with our wall. Perfect. Then we draw the top. And that. And that. We have our frame. We fill it with black. Fill it with stars. Here we're going to draw some more rectangles. And then we're going to fill in the inner part of the window. That's it. Lines. Boxes. These stars are simply random. Yep. Perfect. Very nice. keep going. Solar cysts. Now this does have a bit of a story. This is an assignment 8A apparently. November 23rd, 1998. I had just learned the graphics program, and this was our still picture. So he taught us the graphics commands, and then our job was to use them all to make an image, and then we would get graded on the image. And so this is what I decided to draw. And I think it's beautiful. Things to note. So we have Mercury, Venus, Earth is that blue circle in the brown orbit. You can see the moon there. I added the moon. The next one out is Mars. And I did give the 2 moons of Mars. You can see gray blobs above Mars there. And obviously Mars is red. And then the asteroid belt. And then the orbit of Jupiter. And I don't think I did all 20 some odd moons of Jupiter, but anyhow, and the beautiful sun. Now the thing about this is that it required a lot of the additional values on the circle command, because we have a lot of elliptical objects here. So this is a bit of a different... Yeah, so screen 12. So this is us drawing the asteroid belt. There are 2,000 random pixels set to color 6 in this rectangle. The entire width of the screen, but isolated to 256 to 400 along the y coordinates. Okay, and then what is this? So we draw the 2,000 random asteroids, and then we draw 1,000 colored stars. I guess that's... Oh yes, the stars in the background. Perfect. Okay, and then this is a lot of stuff. So remember the circle command. We have the first numbers, the radius, followed by the color, and then a start and end. This is if you'd want to draw parts of circles, and then an aspect ratio. So if it's less than 1, you're going to get a horizontally flattened circle, and if it's greater than 1, it's going to be, a vertical circle. A vertical ellipse, but I only have horizontal ones. So all my aspect ratios are going to be less than 1, as you can see here. Now the key about this is that I needed to draw the top half of the circle, because if you recall, let's look at the sun. Look at Mercury's orbit, the red one. So I needed to draw the top part of the orbit, then the sun, and then the bottom part of the orbit, because otherwise the sun would appear either behind both parts of the orbit, and that can't happen, or in front of both parts of the orbit, and that can't happen. And actually both Mercury and Venus's orbit are like that. And similarly, the ring of Jupiter is also like that. So let's put some sleeps in here. And remember the start and end points when you're drawing parts of circles are in radians. No, let's just do this. Oh, beautiful. And then I actually have Mercury, Venus. Let's throw these in here. I've given myself some comments. That's really good. Mars and Jupiter. Okay, so now we're going to build this up and we're going to see how I do this. So there's the stars and there's the top part of Mercury's orbit, followed by the top part of Venus's orbit. Then I'm going to draw the sun. And I guess this would be an issue if there was a yellow pixel right at the very center of this sun, because I'm going to use a paint command. No, actually that's not true, because a paint command is going to be yellow until you hit white. So yeah, it'll be fine. Maybe if there was a white dot at the middle, it wouldn't fill up. We'll have to see. Okay, so then we're going to fill the sun. Then we can draw the bottom parts of the orbits. And this is all one circle, the orbit of Earth. It goes off the screen, but that's okay. QBasic lets you do that, and it'll just show what it can show. And so, similarly, the Mars orbit and Jupiter's orbit. I don't know why those are both the same color. Then we're going to draw Mercury in. There's Venus over there. Earth and its moons. Or its moon. There's Mars and its moons. And there's Jupiter. And that's it. So that's cool. I got a 10 out of 10 for that. Anything else we can do? Probably not. 0 to pi is the top part of the circle, and then pi to 2 pi is the bottom part of the circle. Oh yeah, what if there was a dot right in the middle? So I'm gonna actually make 320 100, and that's the center of the solar system. 320 100. You see all these circle commands for the orbits, they're all centered at 320 100, and this is the sun right here, but I paint it, fill it with 14 until I hit 15. So what if one of the random colors, one of the random stars, put a white star right at the middle of the sun? What would happen? You can... And there it is. So, I mean, randomly, it's possible the sun doesn't get drawn. Doesn't get filled up if a pixel was right there in the center that was white. But the odds of that are very slim indeed. Okay. We got one more on my list here. We're going to take a look at Bridge 3D. And this one is another graphic of some sort. Let's see what we got. Same kind of deal. Okay, we got this nice bridge in space. Reminiscent of an old video game I used to play with a thing that bounced up and down. What was that even called? I can't even remember. Anyway, I really like the colored star backdrop, apparently. So that's this. Again, we're in screen 12. I draw the two lines. Let's start throwing these in, and then... Okay, those are the two lines of the bridge. And then I'm going to draw parts of all these circles. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, from 1 to 450, step 10. So A will be 1, then it'll add 11. So 1, 11, 21, 31, all the way up to 441. We draw the circle with the radius of A, so the ever-increasing radius. Color 6, which is that orangey brown. And we're we're going to start at 3.68 radians to 5.74. So that gets you the curve along the bottom. It is we don't have an aspect ratio. So these are parts of true circles. Every time we increase h, okay, and this is why we do this h business. Because every second time we draw a circle, we want to fill in the, I don't even know what those are called, the fence part. I'm not sure why the bottom ones are drawn separately. Let's have a look. Oh boy. This is me just trying to... Okay, so the problem here is, let's put a sleep at the end so we don't cover up our... The problem is that once you start I'm not sure why I couldn't have just continued. Why couldn't I have just continued? Maybe I thought that once it started to go off the edge of the screen, the paint command screws up. That is kind of weird. But I draw all those circles, and then I stop filling them in. Okay, so here's what happened. I actually did draw all the circles, and if it would have worked, this would have filled in those missing ones along the bottom, but I guess somehow because it's hit the end of the screen and the paint command wasn't working, so I just picked random coordinates inside the spots I wanted to fill in. I just finished it off manually. Okay, whatever. That is that. We'll open this up again. That's Bridge 3D, because it's a 3D bridge in space. Why not? Okay, well, thanks for joining me in this adventure in small code. Have a nice day, and we will see you next time.